Every public story has a private truth, and the private truth of Il Volo, the real story that exists beneath the performances and the chart positions and the carefully managed public narrative of three friends who found each other on a television stage and conquered the world together, is more complicated, more human, and more extraordinary than anything the official story contains. I'm your name. This is Il Volo Echo, and today we are going somewhere that no Il Volo content has gone before. These are the things they have never fully said out loud, the truths that have been present in everything they have done, but never directly addressed, the darkest secret of Il Volo, and why understanding it changes everything about how you hear their music. Before we get into it, I need to say something important. What I am about to share is not scandal. It is not gossip. It is not the kind of manufactured controversy that certain corners of the internet traffic in at the expense of real people's real lives. What I am about to share is something more significant than any of that. It is the truth about what it actually costs to be Il Volo, what the price of the extraordinary life they have built actually is, and why that price, paid consistently, quietly, and without complaint across 15 years, is the darkest and most human secret at the center of their story. The secret is this: Il Volo has never been free. Not in the way that most people understand freedom. Not in the way that the teenagers who watched them win Ti lascio una canzone in 2009 and dreamed of having what they had would have understood the word. Because from the moment those three boys walked onto that television stage and the world decided it wanted them, the ordinary freedom of an ordinary life, the freedom to be unknown, to make mistakes in private, to grow up without an audience, to choose your own path without the weight of other people's expectations pressing on every decision, that freedom was gone, and it has never come back. This is not a complaint. None of the three of them have ever framed it as a complaint, and that restraint is itself part of the story, because the life they have built in exchange for that freedom is extraordinary by any measure. The music, the friendships forged on stages across the world, the specific, irreplaceable experience of standing before thousands of people and feeling their voices move the room. These things are real, and they are worth something that cannot be calculated, but the cost is also real, and it has never been fully spoken about. Gianluca was 12 years old when he first performed publicly in a serious context, 13 when Il Volo was formed, 14 when Italy fell in love with him. Think about what that means. The years between 12 and 18, the years when most people form their understanding of who they are, what they want, what they believe, who they love, and why. Gianluca spent those years in public. Every mistake, every uncertainty, every moment of the ordinary confusion that defines adolescence happened under observation. He could not fall in love normally, could not navigate the ordinary social world of teenagers without the distorting lens of fame refracting every interaction, could not fail at something without the failure being visible, could not succeed at something without the success being attributed to the machinery of celebrity rather than to his own genuine effort and talent. The psychological cost of that, of growing up without the privacy that normal development requires, is something that Gianluca has never fully described publicly. But it is visible to anyone paying close enough attention in the specific quality of his public persona. The warmth is real. The emotional intelligence is real. But there's also a carefulness, a deliberateness in how he presents himself, a management of the distance between the public Gianluca and the private one. That is the product of someone who learned very young that the public self and the private self must be kept separate, or the private self will not survive. Piero Barone carries a different version of the same cost. His is rooted in something that he has touched on in various interviews without ever fully exploring the question of artistic identity versus commercial identity, of what it means to have a voice of genuine operatic quality and to spend your career in a genre that, however beautiful and however successful, is not the genre that voice was built for in its purest form. Piero has never said, not in any public forum, that he wishes he had pursued a solo operatic career instead of Il Volo. He would not say that. The loyalty is too deep, the friendship too real, the genuine appreciation for what the three of them create together too complete for that kind of statement, to be honest. But the tension is real. The awareness that his voice, the most classically formed instrument in the group, the one that vocal coaches consistently identify as operatic in the fullest sense, could have inhabited a different musical world, a world of La Scala and the Met, and the full dramatic repertoire of classical opera, is something that lives in him. It does not poison what he does. It does not undermine his commitment to Il Volo or the quality of what he brings to every performance. But it is there, quietly, in the background of 15 years of extraordinary shared achievement. The road not taken, the version of his artistic life that existed as a possibility and was set aside, not abandoned, not regretted exactly, but set aside in favor of something that was chosen and is genuinely loved, but is not the only thing that was possible. That specific form of artistic sacrifice, the conscious narrowing of possibility in service of a shared commitment, is one of the least discussed and most significant costs of a long-term creative partnership. It is the thing that nobody talks about, because talking about it feels like ingratitude, like questioning something that has given you everything. But not talking about it does not make it less real. Ignazio's version of the cost is perhaps the most visible and therefore the least understood, because Ignazio's natural warmth and extroversion, the genuine joy he takes in performance, in connection, in the experience of being on stage, can make it seem as if the public life costs him nothing, as if he is so completely suited to it that the question of cost does not apply. This is the darkest misconception about him, and it is one that Ignazio has never fully corrected publicly, perhaps because correcting it would require a level of vulnerability that even someone as naturally open as he is finds difficult in the specific context of his public persona. The truth is that Ignazio has paid one of the highest personal prices of the three, not because his experience of Il Volo has been more difficult than his partner's, but because the gap between what the public sees, the warmth, the energy, the seemingly effortless connection, and what exists privately is larger than anyone outside his inner circle realizes. The years of touring that separated him from his family in Bologna, the relationships that could not survive the schedule, the ordinary life of an ordinary young Italian man that was traded at an age when he had no real way of understanding what he was trading it for something extraordinary, but also consuming. The specific loneliness of being surrounded by thousands of people every night and still missing the ordinary, private, unobserved experience of just being a person in a place that feels like home. His marriage to Michelle, the love story that his fans have celebrated with such genuine joy, is not just a romantic milestone. It is the resolution of something that had been missing from his life for a long time. The experience of being known completely by one person who has no investment in the public version of him, who loves the private Ignazio, the one that the stage version both reveals and conceals simultaneously. The darkest secret of Il Volo is not any single fact or event or decision. It is the accumulated weight of 15 years of giving everything to something, to the music, to each other, to the audiences that have made their career possible, while the ordinary human needs that the public life makes difficult to meet continue to press quietly and persistently from beneath. The need for privacy, the need for the freedom to fail without consequence, the need for relationships that exist entirely outside the distorting influence of fame, the need to be known as a person rather than a performer, the need occasionally for the music to be something they do rather than something they are. None of them have ever said any of this directly. The professional discipline that 15 years of public life instills makes direct statements of this kind almost impossible. The awareness of how they will be received, of how they will be used, of what the public appetite for celebrity vulnerability does to genuine human expression is too acute to allow for the kind of complete openness that this truth requires. But it is present in everything they do, in the carefulness with which all three of them protect their private lives, in the specific quality of relief that is visible in all of them when they are caught in unguarded moments, backstage, between songs, in the brief seconds when the performance pauses and the people beneath it are visible, in the depth of their investment in the friendship with each other, the one relationship in their lives that has existed from the beginning of the public life, and therefore understands, without explanation, everything that the public life has cost. The friendship is, in the end, the answer to the darkest secret. Because what they have in each other, the specific understanding of three people who have paid the same price for the same extraordinary life, is something that compensates, more than anything else could, for what the life has taken. They know each other's costs. They have watched each other pay them. They have been present for the moments when the weight of it was heaviest, and the ordinary human needs that the public life denies were most acute. And they have stayed through all of it, choosing each other and choosing the music with a consistency that is itself the most complete possible answer to the question of whether it has been worth it. It has been worth it. All three of them know that. The music they have made, the lives they have touched, the specific, irreplaceable experience of standing on a stage and feeling three voices, their voices, move a room full of strangers to something beyond words. Worth it. Completely. Without reservation. But it has also cost something real. Something that deserves to be acknowledged, rather than erased, by the official story of triumph and joy and three boys who found each other and conquered the world. The darkest secret of Il Volo is that the most beautiful things cost the most. And the people who have given us the most beauty have paid, quietly and without complaint, a price that the rest of us never see. Now we see it. If this is your first time on this channel, welcome to Il Volo Echo. We cover everything Il Volo right here, every single day. Hit subscribe and come back tomorrow because we have something very special coming that you do not want to miss. And tell me in the comments, did you ever sense the cost behind the performances? Did you ever look at one of them on stage and see something beneath the music? I want to hear what you noticed. See you tomorrow.